So today I wanted to come on here and talk about my fitness journey. I feel like on social media there's a lot of people who share their journeys and they're great, but sometimes they're a little bit unrealistic. Sometimes it's like this 6-month transformation and they went from being like a twig, being super skinny, to just being jacked, which again, that is so awesome. But for some people, I don't think that's very realistic. For me, that is definitely not realistic. My transformation is nothing spectacular. It's probably average at best, but it's definitely realistic. So let's get into it. So I started in March of 2020. That is when I first started working out. It was during COVID. I was at home, school was out. I was doing HIIT workouts and cardio. For cardio, I was doing some very minimal running, maybe a mile a couple times a week. I wasn't dedicated to it. I wasn't fast. I was just doing it to try to lose weight. Same with the HIIT workouts. I was doing HIIT workouts to try to lose weight. I was doing like YouTube videos, just following what it said to do. I think some of them used some small dumbbells, but for the most part it was like cardio, burpees, and so on. At this point in my fitness journey, I was just trying to lose weight. I had no interest in putting muscle on. I didn't really know anything about putting muscle on. It hadn't hit my TikTok For You page yet. I was just trying to get skinny. I was at the age where I was like drinking with friends, going out, and that had me put on some fat, and I was not a fan. And then come August, this is a picture of me in August, that is when the gyms opened back up. I started doing some cardio in the gym, no weights, but I took pre-workout for the first time, and this is like the start of my gym era. I was definitely still in a calorie deficit, trying to lose weight, probably not eating enough during the week, and then overeating on weekends when I was out with friends or going out to eat, drinking, that kind of thing. And then it wasn't until November and December, these are 2 pictures of me from then, that I actually started using weights. I got the balls to go over to the dumbbells for the first time at Planet Fitness, probably did a bunch of bicep curls and walked away. But I started. I think in this picture, actually near the Smith machine, that is the first time I ever used it. I think I did deadlifts with probably the worst form you've ever seen, but hey, everybody starts somewhere. So I started to lift. I think I did some of the machines, like a leg press maybe, and a lat pull down machine or something, but nothing crazy. However, at this time I did learn about bulking on TikTok, is how I learned about it. I started to see all these things that are like, if you want your dream body, you need to put on muscle. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll lift weights and I will bulk, because everything online was saying you need to bulk. You need to be in a calorie surplus to put on muscle. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. I know to lose weight, you need to be in a deficit. So if I want to gain weight, I need to be in a surplus. However, I had no idea about the training that needs to come with that. So I was overeating. This is me in January. Again, still overeating. I don't look significantly different. It's also a post picture in a mirror. I'm probably sucking my stomach in, but I was overeating on fats, eating junk, not training nearly hard enough. I didn't even really know how to train at this point. I was probably doing very minimal weight training, but I was trying, I was learning. It was a little bit intimidating for me. Still just listening to what I heard on TikTok about eating, putting on mass. Mind you, I wasn't even comfortable with my amount of body fat before I started bulking. I had been trying to lose weight, but never really lost the weight because I was overeating on the weekends. And then I continued to bulk until like February, March. That is when I started my first cut. So I believe that I bulked from 155 up to 165, so about 10 pounds. And then this is when I decided I wanted to cut for summer. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be shredded. I'm gonna have abs, I'm gonna have bicep veins, I'm gonna look jacked. I went low carb. I was eating like those, I don't know what they're called, like magic noodles, I think they were. They're like the tofu noodles or something like that. Mushroom noodles, I don't know. They're pretty much like 0 calories, I think. And then I was eating like the low carb tortillas that are like 45 calories a tortilla. I was just doing everything to cut my calories. Zucchini noodles too, that was a big thing, which are great, but yeah, I was going all out with this first cut. I thought I was gonna be shredded. And these are both pictures of me at the beginning of that. Come April, I was down to 155 again, so my pre-bulk weight. I'm pretty sure I just gained and lost the same 10 pounds. I don't really think that I put any muscle on, but everybody starts somewhere. I was learning. And then come June, I lost 5 more pounds, and this was like the end of my cut. It was where I thought I looked good, I was lean enough. So I just kind of coasted from here for the rest of the summer. I wasn't bulking, I wasn't cutting, I was just maintaining. Probably eating in a little bit of a deficit during the week, but then making back up for it on the weekends, I would say. Probably drinking on the weekends with friends, going out, that type of thing. And this is a picture of me at around 150 in June of 21. Then October and November came around and I started my second bulk. This time it was a little bit better. I had a better idea of what exercises to do. I had more knowledge of more variety. I knew like, oh, there's lat pull downs, there's rows, there's bicep curls, there's tricep extensions, and then there's like all these different ways to work my tricep, and there's all these different variations to do a row. So I was learning. However, the intensity was still not there in my training. So I was doing probably a bunch of junk volume, I would say, not going hard in my sets, but doing a lot of sets, doing a lot of different exercises, and also probably the dirtiest bulk ever. I was eating upwards of like 4,500 calories. I was eating muffins, butter, steak, potatoes, which all of those are fine in moderation, but I was eating it all the time just to try to get the scale to go up. I am what I believe to be a hard gainer. I was skinny through all of my teenage years until I got to the age where I could drink, and that is when I put on weight. So aside from drinking, I'm a relatively hard gainer. So I was pretty convinced that I just needed to up these calories so much because I wanted the scale to go up. I wanted it to go up a pound or 2 every single week, but with the intensity of my training, chances are if it's going up 2 pounds a week, most of it is fat because I was not training hard enough to put on any significant amount of muscle. But I did not know that at the time. So my bulk continued. So that was me in October and November. And then this is me in December, still eating way too much, still wanting that scale to jump up. My back is like my best muscle group, I would say. I think it's grown the most. It's the easiest for me to grow. I haven't trained it any more than anything else. But yeah, so not all of me necessarily grew this much, but my back is definitely a little bit bigger. So I was putting on some muscle, just probably not as efficiently as I could have. Then I continued to bulk until March. March is when I wanted to cut again for summer. I bulked up to, again, 165 again, I think. Just gained 10 pounds, just like I did the bulk before. So at this point, I'm cutting for summer, low calorie, probably low carb again, but nothing crazy. But then when June came around, I dropped my calories probably to 1,400, I would say, which for a bodybuilder and prep, that's not outrageous. However, for me, someone who's just trying to lose the 10 pounds I bulked up to for a vacation, it was a little extreme, especially because then on the weekends, I was just eating junk and drinking, doing whatever, and just pretty much canceling out all of the deficit I was in. So if I was just doing a more moderate deficit, eating some of the things I enjoy in moderation and not being so extreme, I probably could have lost the same amount of weight just as fast, but I didn't have that self-control. I didn't have that knowledge. I was like, I need to lose this. This is the best way to go about it. So this was me at the end of my cut in June. And then I went on vacation. This is me in July on vacation in California. I wasn't cutting or bulking. I was pretty much maintaining. I'm sure I put on a couple pounds from like eating out and stuff and having fun, but I wasn't purposely gaining or losing any weight. And I kind of did this for the rest of the summer, just maintaining, kind of coasting. I think during the week I was eating a little bit less to make up for any unhealthy eating that I was doing on the weekends. And then I continued that until September. I don't have a picture of me in September, probably because I was busy with school, but this is when I started my third bulk. Now, this bulk went a little bit better. So I don't have any pictures until December actually, but this is me in December of 2022. I definitely had put on some weight. You can see there's not any definition in my arms. I'm not fat by any means, but I was definitely a little bit thicker. So I continued my bulk through December. I continued it through February. So this is me in February. You can see I definitely have a little bit of extra body fat on me. My arms are pretty thick. Even like around my collarbone area and my chest, you can just see there's a little bit of extra pudge there. I was probably weighing in around 170 pounds here, I would say. This is the time where I was learning how to train. I was finally learning how hard I needed to push. I was learning about reps in reserve, going to failure, going past failure, just really bringing that intensity, realizing that I'm not going as hard as I thought I was, trying to get in the right mindset before my lifts and during my lifts, just trying to take it more seriously. And I'd say that this is when a lot of my physical progress was made. So I continued this bulk until May. I don't have any pictures of me at the end of my bulk, probably because I was not super thrilled with how I looked, but I ended my bulk at around 175 pounds. So this was significantly more weight this time. I started it probably around 155. I could have been a little bit heavier from not tracking as much during the summer, but so pretty much a 20-pound bulk this time. I wasn't going as crazy with the calories. I'd say I started at like 3,000 and then probably ended around 4,000, which is still excessive. I now know I do not need to eat that much, but still I was wanting that scale to go up because I was thinking it was going to be all muscle again. But this bulk went a little bit better. I cut back the calories a little bit. It was still kind of dirty. I prioritized clean foods a little bit more. I was definitely hitting my protein goals, all of that. But so then I started to cut in June, kind of. That's when I was moving to California. Summer was coming up. I did not like how I looked, so I wanted to be thinner. So I decided it's a good time to cut. So starting at 175, I got down to like 173 before we moved. And then once we got here, we were so busy visiting family and going out and exploring and having fun that the cut kind of came to a stop. I wasn't really tracking, and if I was, it was just a couple times a week, and then I was overeating on the other days. So that kind of stopped until I got my apartment in October. So right at the beginning of October, I started taking the cut more seriously, and I went from like 173 or 175 down to 162 is what I was this morning. So about 12 pounds, 13 pounds, 11 pounds, somewhere 11 to 13 pounds-ish. That's what I've lost. I'm gonna continue to cut a little bit more and then probably bulk again. Cleaner, less calories, training harder. But yeah, so I think the majority of my physical progress was made during this past bulk, probably the end of it, because that's when I was really learning how to train and how to push and how to bring that intensity. However, I don't think that means that the first two bulks and cuts were a waste of time. I think that everybody starts somewhere. Everybody has to kind of go through some trial and errors. They learn what works for them. They learn how to eat. They learn how much protein they need. They learn how to recover. They learn how hard to train, how often to train, all of that. So It might have taken me a little bit longer than it takes others, and I might have learned faster than some. It's not one size fits all, but I'm glad I started because I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't. But I'm always gonna keep learning. I feel like in 6 months, I'll probably look back and be like, wow, I had no idea what I was talking about. I had no idea how to train. Now I'm doing so much better. I know so much more. But I think I'm finally getting to a point where I'm starting to see more progress because of the amount of trial and error and education I have now. I also have a lot of education from like watching YouTube videos, from reliable sources, and researching. You can research studies. You can listen to people you see on the internet. Sometimes that's not the best thing, but sometimes it is. I mean, if you see somebody who very clearly has results, listening to them might not be the worst idea. However, there are some people who are so well versed in exercise and putting on muscle, but they might not be super jacked and super muscular because maybe it's something that they study and know a lot about, but don't actually do themselves. So you kind of need to take everything with a grain of salt if it's coming from people you know on the internet or people you like on the internet. YouTubers, TikTokers, people on Instagram, all of that. I feel like I will continue to keep learning. I will continue to do trial and error with different techniques, different bulking and cutting techniques, different intensities, different frequencies in training, different splits. But I feel like where I'm at now, I'm going to start seeing more progress. I'm pretty happy with the progress I've made, and I will keep sharing things as I continue to learn more. Thank you so much for watching.